Joining me right now is Tennessee Senator, member of the Senate Judiciary, Finance, Commerce, and Veterans Affairs Committees. Marsha Blackburn is with us. Senator, you said it all along as well. Your reaction to the Durham report?
I am not surprised with what we found out from the Durham report, because we've said all along Hillary and Bill Clinton had close ties to the Russians. They were big funders of the Clinton Foundation. Hillary even said to Vladimir Putin, let's punch the reset button and reset this relationship. That is one of the first things she did as our Secretary of State. And there was never evidence around this Russia collusion with Donald Trump. And now we find out Hillary was the one who was cooking this plan up and then saying it was the Russians and blaming it on Donald Trump, when all along it was Hillary Clinton who was close to the Russians.
Yeah, but what about the media? I mean, the media also allowed this story to go viral, even though they had absolutely no evidence. And let's not forget, not just the Clinton Global Initiative and all that money that goes into there and has over the years. It was Bill Clinton getting all that money for speeches in Russia. It wasn't just what Donald Trump wasn't doing. It was what Hillary Clinton was doing, and the FBI pursuing it despite no evidence. Lives have been destroyed in the process.
You're correct about that. And Maria, in 2015, when, as a part of my committee work, we did a report on the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative and brought forward many of these connections, the media was not interested in covering that because they were interested in covering up the tawdry details of Bill and Hillary Clinton and their lives, because everyone had predetermined that Hillary Clinton was going to be the first female president of the United States. So how dare the media get in the way of that?
Well, I mean, what outrages me most about this, not just that we had the story and I tried to report the story truthfully and got slammed for it in the media, but what really gets me is the fact that this put a sitting president on defense. And all the while, another story that I was pursuing at the time was Communist China, because Devin Nunes had done a real deep dive into the threat that is Communist China. So I was reporting on that as well. So you had a sitting president, Donald Trump, instead of being focused on China and stopping China, which, by the way, he had Xi Jinping at Mar-a-Lago and basically dropped a bomb in his lap that said, we're just right now sending strikes to Syria. So he did recognize China as the threat, but instead of having more opportunities to stop Communist China from getting inside the gates of America, he was constantly on defense, explaining that he didn't collude with Russia.
That is correct, because, yes, the Democrats are interested in two tiers of justice, and that is such an unfortunate thing. When I talk to Tennesseans, they talk about how frustrated they are with witnessing two tiers of justice play out, and they know it's not right. They're frustrated by it. They know that whether it's the DOJ or the IRS or Veterans Affairs or any of these agencies, the liberals are treated one way and conservatives are treated another way. And Maria, they're tired of it. And they're tired of the media continuing to push these false narratives simply because it is going to enable the left to move forward on what they want as an outcome. And it is being done at the expense of the people. That is why it is time for we, the people, to be the people and push back on this. DOJ is not going to do anything about this. Merrick Garland is spineless. He is weak. He's not going to take this up. He's not going to call the FBI to account. He is not going to challenge Hillary Clinton. It is going to be up to Congress. It is going to be up to us to go after their funding mechanisms. It is going to be up to us to continue to push this forward. It is going to be up to us to make certain that after 2024, we have a DOJ that is going to punish these people for the wrong that they have done to so many people, the lives that they have ruined, and the arrogance that they have to continue to go out there and push themselves forward as authorities. And Maria, something else, all of these people that are former CIA, former DOJ, and they have these security clearances, we need to yank every single one of them, every one of them.
I think viewers want you to do that, and viewers want to see accountability. And you said funding. Look, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is trying to put some limitations in funding and spending right now. President Biden and Kevin McCarthy and the other congressional leaders will resume their debt ceiling negotiation talks today. But McCarthy said yesterday that there's been no movement so far. I spoke with House Financial Services Committee Chairman Patrick McHenry earlier in the show. Here's what he told me. Watch.
The only plan that's been passed in Washington to raise the debt ceiling is the one out of a Republican House. So the White House needs to get serious and come to the table with the Speaker of the House and negotiate with us. If Senator Schumer wants to be at the table, well, giddy up, big boy, pass a plan and you can get to the table too.
Yeah, what's Senator Schumer thinking? He's been calling the House bill the wrong name, saying that the Republicans want America to default, Senator.
And, you know, the House Republicans are the one that have passed a bill, and Senate Republicans stand with the House Republicans. I look forward to putting that House-passed bill on the floor of the Senate. We can use Rule 14, which is the same-day rule, get it to the floor and call the vote on this, and then let's see where all of these Democrats stand. And I am for the House bill.
Do you think he's going to bring it to the floor? You've got to get Schumer to agree to that, right?
I think we should push to get it to the floor under Rule 14 and force the issue and call the vote on the House bill. And then we'll see if Joe Biden wants to veto that. Let's see if we can pass it out of the Senate. Let's see if Democrats will stand with us.
Okay, we'll be watching that. Senator, thanks very much. We appreciate your time and your leadership. Marsha Blackburn.